So we are going to be looking at a scenario where it's alternate future. And well, in the last episode, we saw the First Balkan War, and it was very early for its time, in which we saw Romania, Serbia, it's kind of Macedonian country, Bulgaria, Greece, Albania, and Montenegro all get their independence. Well, Greece and Montenegro were already independent. And, well, the Ottomans did also lose land out over to Libya because of the Italians. In this episode, we are going to be looking at the Franco-Prussian War. Now, off camera, I did erase some of these German states, and that is because they have joined up with Prussia, and this is kind of the Northern German Federation. But anyways, if you guys do enjoy this series, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into the scenario. So the year is 1870. And, well, Otto von Bismarck is going to do his manipulation of the telegraph or telegram. Sorry about the camera angle. I didn't know it was like that this whole time. But I don't have time to re-record this. And, well, this is going to provoke France into declaring war on Prussia, or the Northern Germanic Federation, or just the Northern German Federation. And, well, the invasion is going to start with the French moving into this Prussian area right here. The Prussians didn't have as much military on this front line right here as they wish they would have. So they're kind of getting kicked right now. And, well, right now the whole Unite Germany thing is happening. And, well, now these German states right here are going to start supplying Prussia. I don't know if they did that in real life. That's why it's called alternate history. But we do see the Prussians or the Germans pushing back against the French quite a dang bit. We see a massive battle happening right here, and, well, the Prussians actually win it. And they manage to push back the original border-cutting French armies into two. They then start a movement into France. And, well, this kind of shocks the world because they didn't think Prussia would be able to do this. And this invasion is going to go very well for Germany. As well, a lot of these states right here are going to start flocking over to the German Confederation. And, well, if they win this war, it will be the start of the German Empire. And, well, Germany will be united. Of course, not all of the Austrian and Czech areas will be, but the main parts will be. We see the Germans moving into Jesus Christ. It is Alsace-Lorraine. And, well, now the French are fully kicked out of Germany. And now, with all this new help from the southern German states, we see the Prussians are moving into France very quickly. And, well, approximately right here, a Frenchman is going to make a very big mistake. Thinking the Germans are heading straight for them, he's going to back off a lot, even though the Germans weren't. And then once they get wind that the French kind of backed off, a major push is going to happen moving up into these areas. And, well, the French people are kind of mad at this general, especially because now Paris is on a threat of being taken, and then it does. And then, well, the French are kind of having a mini revolution as the Germans are completely destroying the French. And then the government is overthrown, and, well, a new government is established, and, well, they send peace over to the Germans. The Franco-Prussian War has just ended. Now let's look at a peace treaty of the German Empire. And, well, in a peace treaty, the Germans are going to get pretty much the Alsace-Lorraine areas, and they officially set up the German Empire. Another major thing we have happening is the Italian annexation of Rome. And now Italy is also all united. And I do want to say this is going to be a shorter video, but I do still have a couple stuff I'm going to do. Going over to the Confederacy, we actually see Cuba joining up with the Confederacy. Now, at this time, I'm not sure if America had Cuba. I don't think they ever did. I think the Spanish might have at this point. And, well, now what we see happening is the Japanese invasion of Korea. Troops are going to land over inside of the southern Korean peninsula and begin moving up. And, well, the Qing dynasty is going to be mad about this. And why made Japan blue and Korea red? I don't know. But the Qing joins in on this war. And, well, now with the Qing on the side of the Koreans are going to slowly start pushing back against the Japanese. But the Japanese are going to use that warfare technique of rushing at the enemy, and if they are about to get you, kill yourself. And well, this works very well, cruising up the Korean peninsula and getting very far up Korea. And now what they're going to do is make a little landing over here, and here, and here. And then they're moving up Korea, and they pretty much take the entire thing. And then they're focusing on China, and this is just, they're committing some pretty dang bad stuff to these Chinese. But the Chinese are able to kick the Japanese out of this area right here, so that's good. But they are still losing to the Japanese. But then something good for China is going to happen, I guess. Pretty much Russia, Great Britain, Germany, and a bunch of other powers are going to be gonna say like, stop. And Japan's going to be like, but why? And they're just going to say like, stop. And Japan's going to be like, okay. But they go ahead and take Korea. And now they're kind of sad. And Japan's kind of just sitting here. And then they see Russian troops on their border. What are you doing? Taking this valuable Qing territory. And then Japan's going to be like, let's go to war then. So that's what Russia and Japan are going to do. And now the Japanese are kicking butt. They're absolutely destroying the Russians. And now Japan is invading into Scotland. And well, actually pretty soon they're going to pretty much take the entire island. And well, with unrest growing inside of Russia, they're getting absolutely demolished by the Japanese. It gets so bad that all of their territories that pretty much they just conquered from the Qing are given over to Japan. And now Japan are making small naval landings along the Siberian area, as well as pushing into the actual Russian area. And well, after this, Tsar Nicholas is going to go ahead and surrender. In a peace treaty, Japan is going to take pretty much everything that the Russians invaded into. They also take all of Scotland, as well as this little bit of Siberia. And now the Japanese Empire is in its roots. Anyways, that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry it was a little bit shorter of a episode. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more content like this. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.